Northeast PA's classic rock, Rock 107.
That's right, woodchuck chuckers. It's Groundhog Day!
Yeah, today in a number of small towns all over North America, the communities are looking to their bizarrely named groundhogs to predict how much longer winter's going to be sticking around. Yesterday on Facebook and Twitter, I said, hey, you let me know. Embrace Groundhog Day or attack Groundhog Day, and a slight favor, 55 to 45% in favor of attacking. So here we go. The sad truth is a bunch of drunken folks, typically old white men wearing ridiculous clothing, scare the crap out of some poor rodent in a badly staged attempt to keep tourist dollars flowing to an otherwise forgettable corner of the world. Punxsutawney, PA, I'm sure is a nice little town, but if it were not for Phil the Groundhog, no one outside of Jefferson County, Pennsylvania would know anything about it other than it's got a weird name. And I know it's tradition. Oh, it's tradition. Let's see what the groundhog says about the winter. Let's hold on to our traditions. You know what? It used to be tradition to put leeches on your face when you had a black eye, or to drill holes in people's skull to bleed a headache out. So forgive me if I don't get all weak in the knees over your tradition. Phil's accuracy record also leaves something to be desired. He's right about 39% of the time. Sure, in baseball, that's going to make you a Hall of Famer, but in weather, even silly boy Snedeker is better than that. In fact, let's put Joe in a hole. Come to think of it, that's not a bad idea. Let's put Snedeker in a hole, yank him out, and see if he sees his shadow. I guess it's a heck of a party. Yeah, it's a heck of a party. You got to go to Punxsutawney. It's a party. Prospector, oh my God, it's such a party. Good, because America really needs another reason to blow off work and get hammered. I mean, that's what we're sorely missing in this country, right? Outside of the movie, I hate everything about Groundhog Day. There. I said it. I hate the pomp and circumstance. I hate the whole gobbler's knob. To me, that sounds like somebody in a porn movie, period. I hate the prognosticator of prognosticators. I hate the whole idea that something I want to kill 364 days a year all of a sudden becomes the most important thing in the world that one day of the year, February 2nd. Punxsutawney Phil and all the other rodent weathermen can go pound sand. I don't need a glorified rat to be yanked out of a hole, see a shadow or not, to let me know when the winter season ends. I got a calendar and something called science.
It's time for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
A woman claims she had sex with the police to ensure that her brother's murder was properly investigated. Well, I guess when the long arm of the law isn't working, you switch to another body part. Today is Groundhog Day. I wouldn't let some stupid rodent determine my actions for the next 6 weeks. I'm a Sagittarius. Disney World ended the Country Bear Jamboree. The group was too scandalous after one of the members was caught pooping in the woods.
Prospector ruins everything, even the news. Tune in Monday for Prospector's Briefs on Rock 107.
Punxsutawney, I always burrow my way back to see Phil on Groundhog Day. Hey, I once won a spelling bee in the 3rd grade when I moved here to Northeast PA, because I was the only one that could spell Punxsutawney. But enough about my education. This year, I had a charming woman to accompany me as she looked forward to the warmer months and didn't mind getting up early. Coincidentally, her name is Dawn. I made sure to book us a hotel room by Gobbler's Knob. On Groundhog Eve, we went to dinner in anticipation of the big morning that lies ahead. I asked Dawn, what entices you about seeing Phil? She said, it's almost romantic, and he burrowed safe in his hiding place. He feels the rustling outside that begins to stimulate him. Then he slips out of his hiding place to reveal himself. That gives me a warm feeling inside. Well, after hearing Dawn's definition of romance, I knew that Gobbler's Knob would be hopping that night. And I knew I must reply in a manly manner. If you ever find yourself in a similar situation, follow along in your manly manual, page number 132, and repeat after me. Number 1. Hey, Dawn, I have something in its hiding place. Care to stimulate it? Number 2. Boy, howdy, I can't wait to see the crack of dawn. Number 3. Reveal. Here, reveal this. I bet it'll give you a warm feeling inside. Soon after, as Dawn reveals the Punxsutawney police to you, which takes away all your stimulation, and you come to terms with the facts that you'll never be able to see the crack of dawn, you'll realize just what kind of man you really are. Until next time, this is Mr. Manly saying be manly and good day.
These people, I think they're just being babies. Good morning. I'm Rock 107's Prospector. A small town in New Hampshire is up in arms over a new business called the Diaper Spa, where clients wear diapers and pretend to be babies. Now, people who live nearby are worried it's a fetish thing and that the clients could be dangerous. It also happens to be close to a park. But the owner is a licensed therapist and says that's not what this is. She claims it's for people who get targeted therapy working out issues from their childhood. But some services on her site are sort of presented in a fun way. There's one called the ABDL Nursery Spa Care, described as a spa-like nursery experience for the little one inside of you. ABDL stands for Adult Baby Diaper Lover. A 2-hour session for that costs $600. There's also a virtual playdate for $200 where you do a Zoom call with a therapist, and for $1,500, you can book a one-night diaper B&B that comes with, quote, top-notch care and pampering services. Now, more than 500 people in the town have signed an online petition to get the business shut down, but at least one person who lives there doesn't take issue with it. A neighbor in her early 90s thinks people should chill out, and she said it doesn't bother her at all. The owner of the diaper spa says people tend to fear things they don't understand, but folks in her community are generally smart, reasonable, and understanding. So she thinks the outrage will eventually die down. The diaper spa. Just remember, it's not a weird fetish. It's a poopy path to self-discovery.
To Pennsylvania but still want to experience the fun of Groundhog Day? Then get your family the Little Groundhog Day playset. It's got everything you need to celebrate in your own backyard. A top hat, a shovel to dig a hole, and the star of the ceremony, your very own groundhog.
Oh my God, get that out of my house!
Your kids will love it.
Get my broom!
And so will your pets.
He's moving up and down on Mr. Whiskers.
It's fun for the whole family.
I think it's chewing on Grandpa. It bit me. Oh my God, it bit me. My mouth is foaming. I can't feel face.
The Little Groundhog Day playset. Rabies shots sold separately.
Life's pretty tough right now. There's plenty of bad news, but it's not all bad. It's time for the brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
A woman in South Carolina tossed a bunch of stuff in a bin at a recycling center on Sunday, and her diamond wedding ring slipped off. But workers sifted through a huge pile of junk and found it for her.
Thanks. We needed that. The brighter side of Prospector on Rock 107.
The following rant may cause you to pull your hair out, scream at the radio, punch the dashboard. Complaints should be addressed to loudmouthyambag@rock107.com.
Hey, I'm Rock 107's Prospector, and here is what has me jacked. Well, the Super Bowl's coming up next weekend. And yeah, I could say Super Bowl in that context and don't have to worry about getting sued. Now, if you've listened to the show for any length of time, you probably know I love football. And I've already been invited to more than a few Super Bowl parties. Thing is, I ain't going. I won't go. No, I'm not big on parties anyway, and I certainly don't want to watch the Super Bowl at a party. No matter how serious about the game the host is, there's always more party than Super Bowl at a Super Bowl party because people get invited, and many of them show up. Yeah, lots of people love Super Bowl parties, and that means many different people show up for many different reasons. You got the fans of the one team or the other, and they want to watch, cheer, and strut a little when their team's doing well. So they're going to do that loudly sometimes. All of that's great, except it creates distractions for me. I like to watch the Super Bowl in silence, intently. I like to hear the commentary, see all the replays. Hey, I even like to use my DVR to create my own replays over and over and over sometimes. Now, most people don't watch like that. I understand. That's why I prefer to watch at home. But then you get the people who are just there for the commercials. You know them, right? The kind of people who know who's playing, but they don't really follow football. But they love the cutesy commercials, all the funny ones, the long ones, the crazy special effect commercials. I love them all. Yeah, and they love to go on and on about the commercials during the game. Or you get the folks who don't care anything about anything except the halftime show. And they start in about 2 minutes into the second quarter. How much longer do you think? When's it going to be halftime? How come 8 minutes in football takes like 30 minutes in real times? OMG, shut up! I'm trying to watch the game. The worst, though, the absolute worst are the people who don't care about any of it. They're just there because it's an event. Like New Year's or Halloween. They just want to be part of the fun. and they keep yammering on, and they're talking to you while you're watching the game. What's your name, man? What do you do for a living? You know what I do? I watch the Super Bowl. That's my job. And then I talk about it the next day. And since I don't jump up and down on the bed while you're working, how about you shut your mouth while I'm working? Enjoy your Super Bowl party, but really, please, leave me out of it. Trust me, I'm just going to ruin it on you anyway. I'm Prospector. I'm for the people. Who's with me? I gotta go crazy, man!
Ever see the crazy guy screaming at the wall outside the Times building?
Where does this rage come from, my son?
Tweet us with hashtag #IFoundProspector and we'll come and get him. Prospector, mornings on Rock 107.
Big day today. Hey, I'm Rock 107's Prospector. It's Groundhog Day.
Morning. Morning. You off to see the groundhog?
Yes, I am.
Do you think it's going to be an early spring?
Well, last year was the third straight year Phil spotted his shadow, signaling 6 more weeks of winter, and that is the usual prediction from the groundhog. Coming into today, he's seen his shadow 107 times, plus one partial shadow in 1942. He's only said no shadow 19 times that we're aware of. There are 10 years where there was no record at all.
February 2nd is Groundhog Day. A rodent prognosticates that Bill Murray movie will be on cable all day. Weather's determined by Groundhog Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, grab the kids, call your neighbors, and gather around the radio.
It's now time to announce the winner of Prospector's Yam Bag of the Week, as decided by you at rock107.com.
We uncover the most baffling, ridiculous, pathetic, cockeyed, laughable, preposterous blunders in the world of misdeeds.
Nominee number 1.
If you heard someone hotwired a vehicle from a Walmart parking lot, it probably wouldn't be that surprising. But what if the vehicle was an Amish buggy? What would it be then? Hot raining? I don't know. An Amish family had their horse and buggy stolen while they were shopping at a Walmart in Michigan, and police were called. I mean, surely not by the cell phone that Amish people were not carrying, but somebody called them. Fortunately, there were witnesses. A truck driver saw a suspicious woman take the buggy and gave a description to the police. Cops knew who she was. They had some kind of interaction with her earlier that day at the Walmart, but there aren't any more details on that. Police found the stolen horse and buggy later that night and were also able to find the suspect at a nearby motel. She was charged with larceny and larceny of livestock. The horse and buggy were returned unharmed.
Nominee number 2.
Alyssa Milano really stepped in it when she started a GoFundMe campaign to raise money for her 12-year-old son's baseball team. She tweeted, quote, "My son's baseball team is raising money for their Cooperstown trip. Any amount would be greatly appreciated. You can read more about the team and make a donation here." Now, a few things about Alyssa Milano. She's a multi-millionaire all on her own. She's also married to David Bulgari, who's one of the heads of the Creative Arts Agency, a major Hollywood talent agency. She drives a $200,000 electric Porsche with a $14,000 custom paint job. So yeah, the internet opened up on her for it. Alyssa's fighting back. In a follow-up tweet, she said, quote, "I'm getting media inquiries about whether I financially contributed to my son's baseball team. I paid for uniforms for the entire team and coaches, thrown birthday parties, and sponsor any kid who can't afford monthly dues. But the kids also do fundraising themselves, car washes, movie nights, and many other fun things." Not that Alyssa couldn't have sprung for the bill by herself. They were trying to raise $10,000 on the GoFundMe. They've already raised $11,000, so chalk up another win for the 1%.
Nominee number 3.
This sounds almost like a setup to a joke, but it's so real. A naked woman walked into a convenience store armed with a potato peeler on Sunday. Oh yeah, it happened in Florida, and yeah, she was drunk. 35-year-old Celia Barrett walked into a store in St. Petersburg, Florida, Sunday evening and started yelling about getting kicked out of the store earlier in the day. She threatened 2 workers with the peeler and said she was going to kill one of them. With a peeler? I mean, is that possible even? She also toppled a display of Red Bulls, tore open a carton of cigarettes, spilling them on the floor. An employee called the cops, and she was still fully naked when they arrived. She also started pleasuring herself in front of the officers, hopefully not with the potato peeler. She told them she'd had about 6 shots of liquor. She's facing charges for aggravated assault, disorderly intoxication, trespassing, criminal mischief, and indecent exposure.
Nominee number 4.
This is why it's important to periodically clean out your wallet. A man's been hit with drug charges after he accidentally handed police a satchel containing what was believed to be cocaine during a random breath test northwest of Sydney, Australia. The driver was stopped by Highway Patrol for a random breath test, and when he was asked to produce his license, the man handed over the license, but the officer allegedly felt an object attached to the back, believed to be a clear resealable bag of white powder. The driver admitted it was a bag of cocaine. He said he'd been using the drug during New Year's Eve celebrations and forgot he had it in his wallet. The driver stated he had not used the drug since. Either way, it didn't matter. He was cited.
And the winner is
The naked woman who walked into a convenience store armed with a potato peeler and started threatening people. You are the Yam Bag of the Week. Keep it here for all the nominees for Prospector's Yam Bag of the Day, weekday mornings on Rock 107. Thanks for listening to Prospector's Prime Cuts podcast. Be sure to catch us live weekdays from 5:30 to 10 a.m. on Rock 107 or online at rock107.com or the Rock 107 app, a free download for your Android or iPhone. Subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss Prospector's Prime Cuts.